This is about a societal problem that has become, it consumes almost 50,000 Americans a year. That is the equivalent of a jet crashing every single day for the entire year. We have a big problem.
This is going to be really ground zero when it comes to fighting and curing this epidemic addiction.
She don't mind. She's
We, of course, have the highest overdose death rates in the country.
That girl is home, and she'll call out for you as he leaves the room, singing now.
For a mayor to have something like that happen, that's the kind of day you dread. I started getting word that there were overdoses and they were just coming in rapid fire.
I was not surprised. There had been bad batches of heroin popping up in other locations. So it didn't surprise me that Huntington got a bad batch of heroin that resulted in overdoses.
In 2015, there was one West Virginian dying of opioid-related overdose every 12 hours. In 2016, there's a West Virginian dying of opioid-related overdose every 10 hours. So our numbers have gotten worse, and we have not yet peaked to the extent we can tell.
There's not a public meeting that I go to that when I ask the question, raise your hand if you know of someone, have someone in your family, or someone in your neighborhood who has been fighting addiction. Every hand in the room goes up. 2.5 years ago, I wasn't sure that people were certain that this was an issue over the entire town. For a lot, they kind of thought, well, it's across town. And what we started seeing is that it really was beginning to get right into people's households.
I'd say that largely you're looking at some socioeconomic factors, right? We live in an area where we have a poor economy, we have some depression of jobs, and I guess that goes into the economy. And then we kind of neglect some health issues, and I think all those things compile, and people are unhappy, and they're kind of directionless, and they're maybe not as grounded in community, and all those factors sociologically play into how people become addicted.
Right.
That being said, in my opinion, it's brain-based.
According to Coop, the drugs actually hijack the food system. Remember, we have an obesity problem here, right? But you take a look at the centers that are affected. Food, alcohol does food very nicely. And those centers also, in ventral tegmental area, culminating in accumbens, releasing dopamine and a variety of other drugs that make you feel, I'm secure, I feel good, thank God, I'm feeling better. That kind of secure, good feeling, you get after a good meal, don't you?
I found it to be an escape. I wasn't in pain. Helped me sleep. Pure comfort.
It's a perfect storm of when you have environmental conditions and genetic conditions. And then also you have to wonder how much is like socialization. So when you grow up in a climate where someone is abusing alcohol or using drugs, and that's what people learn to do. If those are the coping mechanisms that they learn, that's what they're going to start to employ.
They hijack the brain. It will then, according to their theories, lower average levels of dopamine so that you need more and more and more, and all of a sudden you don't need to interact with somebody else. All you need is a drug, because now interacting with somebody else doesn't give you the spike that's necessary for you to feel even normal.
It's one of those things when you hear of
we're out there doing what we do, and you hear someone that died on the product, it makes you want to, quite frankly, kind of get sick of being sick.
As your skin is crawling,
You want it to end.
as your skin is crawling, as you're thinking, oh my God, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I don't have any meaning or purpose. I want to die. And they take their drug of choice, alcohol, heroin. I've heard some say that taking fentanyl is like being kissed by God.
Addiction is much more of a chronic brain disease issue, not a choice issue. We know that to be fact scientifically.
I advise the harm reduction and syringe exchange program that's part of the health department at City of Huntington. And we hear so much from outside community members about drug users don't deserve a second chance, or they're not worth the rescue medication like naloxone. And so I think that stigma, because people are considered to be responsible for their own mental health and their own medical health, and when they don't do that because they're using drugs, then we hold them accountable. And then we blame them even more for like the plight that they find themselves in.
Whose right is it to say, let them die? They would, if there was someone that was in cardiac arrest and people just said, well, they smoked all their life, they ate the bad things, they didn't ever exercise, let them die. That person would end up going to jail.
We want to address this in a very comprehensive manner. So not just treat it as a criminal justice problem or a law enforcement problem, but really a bigger societal problem.
In our society, drug use was seen as something very, very bad. It was coupled with this notion that you have a defect in who you are as a person, and that led to its criminalization.
Nixon really was the one who kind of captured the possibility, the electoral possibility of uniting both parties, people from both parties, in a social issue that everybody has in common. Nobody wants their kids to be hooked on drugs. And so if you say we're going to launch a war on drugs, then Democrats and Republicans can get on board with that because they actually don't know history. They think that they know history, but they really don't. Historically, as the research shows us, every time you have a war on a substance, then it ends up actually becoming this thing that people want to have more. And you realize, well, the question has never been asked, how are we going to do this effectively?
You're using twice the resources that it would take to rehabilitate them. And I also have a theory that you're also kind of letting them off the hook. Because if they go sit in jail for a little while, then they're going to come back out. They're probably not going to receive the real accountability services of getting better. Like, you are accountable to your children, you are accountable to your community to get better. And if people don't have evidence-based treatment models that fit their particular set of circumstances and their culture and their values, then they're not going to get better. They're going to get worse.
The population of the prison population in West Virginia has tripled in the past 20 years. It's tripled, literally. And the drug overdoses have tripled as well. So it's kind of a system that feeds itself.
A feature of engaging in criminal behavior is the excitement, power, feelings of I matter. And it's a high. And then you suffer a low. And then you get a high, and then you get a low. So when dealing with the criminals, we not only have substance abuse issues, we also have kind of an addiction to those highs and lows associated with crime. So it becomes a lot more complicated than it's just, you put the plug in the jug and they're going to be fine. That's not the case. There are other factors that plug into all of this. Relations with mom, with dad, partner is huge. And then you might have some other kinds of clinical issues as well that you're going to have to deal with, such as anger or jealousy or mistrust, and it could be all of those. And we're going to see huge individual differences between, you could all be addicts, but you could be there for different reasons.
People go into the prison system. People get imprisoned because they deal drugs, because they're trying to feed a habit as well, and because it's economically viable for them.
We're a tight-knit state. You know, everybody knows everybody in West Virginia. We're not inclined to move away from our families in search of other jobs. We stay here. So then we end up working low-wage jobs or jobs that are dangerous, perhaps. We get injured, or we're depressed, or, you know, looking to make money, so we sell drugs. I mean, there's just so many factors.
The biggest moneymaker in the country, the biggest legitimate moneymaker in the country is, anybody? Prescription drugs. So if that's the case, then we can recognize that, wow, okay, that's an element that puts pressure on our kids. It's the biggest moneymaker in the country, and the biggest illegal moneymaker, which makes almost as much. Profits are in the tens of billions every year, beyond oil, beyond food, beyond agriculture, beyond even, you know, being a doctor or a lawyer.
I read between like 2007 to 2012, there were 423 million pills shuffled into West Virginia. And the pharmaceutical companies, McKesson and there's another one, I want to say Cardinal, but that might not be it, made $17 billion just off West Virginia in 5 years.
Our nation has been exploited. Our nation has. Just here in Cabell County, we have 96,000 people in Cabell County. Over a 5-year period, 40 million pills were dropped upon our community.
There's just a manipulation of the people. And unfortunately, we're in a situation where economically we're we're kind of vulnerable. Like, what are the other options if we don't go along?
Intervention has got to be multifaceted and approached from several different angles. It's kind of like the old war on cancer. We got a war on cancer. And then all of a sudden we realize, well, cancer isn't that simple. Lots of kinds of cancer. And you're going to treat prostate cancer different than you treat lung cancer, different than you treat breast cancer. They're all different. They all have different kinds of causes. So different kinds of prevention are going to work. You're not going to find a silver bullet in this.
There's not one silver bullet that's going to eliminate this problem. It has to come from a number of different angles. But I think it has to start from the top down with the policy making.
I've got two bills. The lifeboat bill, which gives them a chance for us to fund treatment centers, that 1 penny tax, and then basically a last chance. Because if they haven't committed a sexual crime or a violent crime, most of it's larceny, if they'll go and get themselves clean, they have to put that carrot out there. For 1 year, you stay clean through and go to a certified treatment center. The next year, you do basically mentoring, helping other people. Then you should be able to go before the judge and the arresting officer and say, please, look at my record, see if I'm worthy of getting expunged so I can get back in a productive workforce. These are compassionate things that need to be done.
Treatment is important, definitely, but historically speaking, keeping it criminalized and shaming people and not having jobs for people and not having treatment is a recipe for more and more addiction.
How do you save a person, unless you have treatment? So for those people who still believe that any type of an addiction is a crime and put them in jail, well, guess what? We've done that for 20 years. It didn't work. If you don't understand that basically it's an illness and needs treatment, then you're still living in the dark ages.
Until somebody is ready to change in so many ways, and then has the support that they need, and sometimes it's a matter of timing too.
It's not my first time trying recovery. Like, I get up to like the 6-month mark and go right back out.
It can have very oftentimes devastating and tragic effects, and it's terrible, but that doesn't mean that we should leave them stranded or not try to be proactive, right, in our search for answers and for treatment, and for ways to help them cope better and recover.
So this is detox. When clients come in, they spend 3 to 7 days in here detoxing from whatever they're addicted to. While in detox, as you can see, it's a little dark in here. Try try to keep it a little colder, make it a little more comfortable for them as they detox, and provide them really with anything that they're wanting during that time. Make them feel more comfortable and kind of get them orientated into the program.
You know, it took me to just totally being spiritually, mentally, and physically beat down to where, you know, somebody made a suggestion of going to a rehab, and for the first time in my life, I was like, I think that is a good idea, you know, and I'm glad I done it, you know. 8 months later, you know, this is the longest span of my life. I've been alcohol and drug free without the help of the Department of Corrections, you know what I'm saying? This here I chose to do myself. You know, I can leave anytime I want. You know, but I would just say I get to stay and help other people that are dealing with the same thing I've dealt with for so long in my life. And having that constant reminder of seeing them come in off the street and still being sick and being where I was, being broken the way I was broken. I understand, you know, and for those that haven't never had to deal with this and to be broken that way, they don't really understand. And it's easier for us to help one another than for those that have never had to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I understand that alcoholism and drug addiction affects probably almost every household in this country. But you know, the addict is really about the best stuff that ever happened.
So it felt really good to get past that hump, and it feels great. Actually, I wake up and I'm enjoying life. It won't be long until I'll be getting a job, hopefully in recovery. So
I think we're going to have to get back to a community approach, really just small communities trying to pull their resources together to try to help people.
The purpose of the farm is to serve as not only a healing space for people to come and be in the community and get to know people and work with the earth, but also as people plant seeds, harvest the plants, and bring them to market, they're going to be interacting with people who are buying the produce, like local restaurants and the Wild Ramp and places like that, and at farmers markets. So the purpose is to get them engaging with their customers so that when they leave their recovery program, they can have better connections to get jobs, because 85% of jobs are gained through knowing someone.
I do think it's interventions like that focus on wellness, that focus on environmental sustainability, and the way that influences individuals' health and well-being. You know, getting back to our appreciation for nature.
So the people that come to us typically have been through recovery programs, and they're sort of looking for a way to transition back into the real world. So typical people that come to us are living in a recovery house or living in a halfway house, sort of in between, really finding their footing and their recovery program. And they're just kind of fed up with the 12-step process. They've been through it, they know it, and they're looking for alternatives. And really, they're looking for things to do every day. A lot of it stems from boredom and lack of resources. So they come up to the farm. We do yoga and meditation. On Sundays, we do jujitsu. Like, we're trying to offer a broad range of effective things that people can do to further their recovery and to really build those coping mechanisms to continue their recovery in the future. Huntington is that place that I want to fight for.
I think the objective is to save a life, and I think every human life is worth saving.
To me, this is uplifting. To me, this is just all inspiring when you get so many people on the same page. I think Huntington has turned a corner. I think we're getting ready to seriously try to fight this kind of thing. And it's being done on all kinds of fronts. I mean, all kinds of fronts we're starting to do it.
They have a center of excellence they've started. We're going to be working with them. I'm going to make sure the whole country knows about this. And if we can do it here, we can turn the tide as far as addiction here. You can do it anywhere.
Appalachia is a neat place. It has strengths, it has weaknesses. And, you know, the weaknesses are astounding. And I think we can turn a corner. I think we can turn the corner on this.
I'm going to keep saving the life and give the person another chance at recovery. Why wouldn't I?
Well, if we're the epicenter of the epidemic, then we should be the epicenter of hope, the epicenter of recovery, the epicenter of how we defeat this.
Well, I ain't seen the sun since I closed the door on the outside world. On my windows and they ain't to keep them warm. Everyone will be okay without me out there.